Welcome into Sportsmemo's betting podcast for May 13th. Happy Monday out there. It's $9 Monday at sportsmemo.com. Every play on the board discounted to just $9. Even the top-rated plays, 5%. Top-rated plays for 150% guarantee back if it loses. That's at sportsmemo.com, and those are also discounted to just $9. So check that out at the website. We got Robbie Veno on talking tonight's MLB card. He's been doing well in MLB. He's been doing well in the NBA playoffs as well. Make sure to check out his stuff at sportsmemo.com. 16-7, 70% in the NBA playoffs so far. Baseball's been pretty good as well. Robbie, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good today, Drew. How about yourself? A little wet and rainy up here, but other than that, we're good.
Yeah, we were just talking, being the weather experts that we are. There is a system going on here in the United States of America, somewhere in the South. It's actually raining where I am right now in South Florida pretty hard, so hopefully the power and everything stays on. But Robbie, hopefully you're staying safe up there as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Drew. We're hunkered in here. No lightning or thunder, just a lot of rain, which keeps the grass green at this time of year at least.
Absolutely. There is good things to the rain, and I believe there's a country song about that. But we'll leave that to the country singers, and we'll do our day job as far as breaking down the MLB card for today. We got 5 games. You got your eye on, starting with a 7:05 Eastern first pitch here. Milwaukee at Philadelphia. Freddie Peralta, Aaron Nola laying minus 150, seeing it right now, and an 8.5 as far as the total goes. You looking to place a bet here on the Brewers and Phillies tonight, Robbie?
Yeah, it's a couple of interesting things here, Drew, especially where the starting pitching is concerned. And don't forget, as we just said, weather may make this game choppy here tonight, Drew. You never know. It could be started and stopped and restarted, and sometimes that'll cost you your starting pitcher if the rain delay becomes too long and managers choose to go to the pen and not bring their guy back out. So a lot to consider here, but I want to focus real quick on, Aaron Nola and his resurgence here for the Phillies. The first 5 starts of the season, 25 innings pitched, 30 hits, and a 6.84 ERA. And, a lot of questions about Aaron Nola after the first 5 starts. Didn't look anything like the pitcher who was in the Cy Young running last season. But his last 3 starts have come back strong over the course of those last 3. Now, he hasn't gone extremely deep into games yet, like we know him to be able to do. But 18 1/3 innings, better than 6 a game, barely, but better than 6 innings per game. Only 17 hits, 3 earned runs over those last 3 starts. The ERA has dropped from the 6.84 in the first 5 games to 1.47 in his last 3 games. Whip down from 1.68 over those first 5, now only 1.2 over his last 3. So you can see there's a lot of progress being made. Aaron Nola himself, when interviewed, said he feels a lot better with command of his pitches right now. Doesn't really know why he didn't start the season that way, but as of right now, he feels pretty comfortable on the hill. He's only allowed 1 home run in his last 3 starts. Milwaukee, of course, a power-laden team, so it'll be an interesting matchup for sure. If Freddie Peralta, on the other side of the coin here, he's been a disaster as far as starts are concerned. He's made 5 starts this season, only 1 quality. His ERA in his starts, he's thrown some relief now, so we're just separating starting pitching from relief pitching here. In his starts, he's got an 8.31 ERA, 1.75 whip. That's not good against the Phillies lineup that, as they showed yesterday, can strike big quickly. I think they got 6 in the 5th off of KC. And the struggle for Freddie Peralta really shows up in his pitches per inning. Almost 20 pitches per inning so far this season as a starter. The exact number, 19.7. So you can't be out there for 20 pitches. Just do the math. I mean, that means you're gone probably before the 5th inning. On average, that would be 100 pitches in 5 innings. Just not good for Freddie Peralta. He did come in relief last Tuesday, 6 days ago, in a case where Milwaukee used an opener, and Freddie Peralta followed the opener and came in and threw 5 scoreless innings. So you wonder if maybe he's getting things right out in the bullpen, and tonight will be a continuation of that, Drew, but it's hard to guess. I know we saw flashes out of him last year. He was extremely good at times, young pitcher. Don't know if you can trust him here in this spot, though. Again, weather could play a role. Aaron Nola, 8 starts this season. In those 8 games, the Phillies have gone over 7 times. Freddie Peralta, 5 starts this season. The Brewers have gone over in 4 of those. So 4-1 for Peralta over the total in his starts. 7-1 over the total for Nola in his starts. Combined 11-2. That's pretty strong. We'll see how it goes tonight in this kind of overcast, rainy weather.
Robbie, great breakdown there. And you bring up the fact of what's going to happen with the starting pitching and weather and everything. And it's a very important point to know if you're new to betting. If the starting pitchers are listed, if they make one pitch, that's going to count towards your bet, whereas if there is a delay before the game and for whatever reason the manager decides to start maybe a bullpen game or something like that, so the starting pitcher does not pitch to start the game, that will cancel the bet. And Robbie, anything else to comment on that interesting kind of aspect of betting on baseball?
Yeah, and like I say, in games where rain can be involved, you back a starting pitcher, you might lose him 2-3 innings in if there's a rain delay, a lengthy one. I mean, if it's a 15-20 minute delay, normally the starter comes back out, but you always run that risk. Sometimes it can be better to play a 5-inning line in a bad weather situation to get the most out of your starting pitcher. In Philadelphia here tonight, Drew, we don't expect it to be really severe rain, but just more constant rain. And I think that Philadelphia and Kansas City played all 9 innings in the rain yesterday. So these umpires have been letting these games go a little bit as long as the weather's not too bad.
Robbie, we got another one here, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. Pittsburgh at Arizona. We got Kingham and we got Robbie Ray laying minus 170 now, as high as minus 170. A lot of minus 165s, 160s out there. 8.5 being the total, seeing 9s as well.
Yeah, this game, Drew, I think is more about Robbie Ray than anything else. Some interesting statistical differences on him as far as this season is concerned. He's made 8 starts. Only 2 have been at home. I think what's most interesting about Robbie Ray's starts are the lineups that he's faced. You go down his game logs and see that he's faced Tampa Bay, Colorado, the Cubs twice, Atlanta, Texas, San Diego, and the Dodgers. What really stands out about those 8 opponents right there is the fact that 6 of those are in the top 9 OPS in Major League Baseball. He has faced some really talented lineups. 7 of them rank in the top 13. The only team that he's faced so far is San Diego. And Pittsburgh's worse than all of those put together. Pittsburgh OPS-wise on the season, 25th in Major League Baseball. Cap it off with the fact that they're 30th and dead last against left-handed pitching. Of course, Robbie Ray comes from the left side. And they're 26th on the road. Now, I know they come off a pretty good series against St. Louis over the weekend. They scored some runs yesterday in that game. They win 10-6, a big 5-run 7th inning for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I believe the day before was a 2-1 game, and I think the game before was maybe a 3-2 game. So they weren't necessarily hammering the baseball until Sunday. I don't know that they're going to hit the ball well here against Robbie Ray. If you break him down even further, you're going to find that at home this season, and this to me was interesting. I have no idea why, but this has become a trend for Robbie Ray this year. At home, in his 2 starts, which only add up to 10 innings. But in those 10 innings, he struck out 17 batters and only walked 2. That's an 8.5 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio. Extremely, extremely good. On the road, 33 2/3 innings pitched, 38 Ks, 21 walks. That's only 1.8 to 1. So there's a major discrepancy there with Ray, excuse me, who is a power pitcher. By trade, he's a power pitcher. So I think those numbers really are indicative of what we might see tonight. Pittsburgh, not the most patient lineup in the world, and Pittsburgh also brings a lot of left-handed bats to the plate. We talked about how bad they are against left-handed pitching OPS-wise. Nate Kingham going to get his second start of the season here. First one didn't go so well, 4 innings pitched, put 6 base runners on. Pirates lose that game to the Texas Rangers. Arizona off a tough, hard-fought series against the Braves over the weekend. Think they probably bounce back here. Neither bullpen, Drew, and might as well get this out of the way now because there's only one bullpen that we'll talk about here today that I think has any difficulty as far as fatigue is concerned. These two are not two of them. Arizona's hasn't been great, but they've got their arms ready to go. So we'll see how the reserves are behind Robbie Ray here today. He does have a tendency to run himself out of games by getting pitch counts up. It's always been a problem for him because he's been a high strikeout, high walk guy against this lineup. Maybe he can cut it down a little bit, be a little more efficient against the Pirates. We'll see. But I think those trends for Robbie Ray and the fact that he's faced some of the best offenses in baseball almost every start so far really favors the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, you can give Robbie a follow on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports, myself at Drew Martin Betts. This is a game I really like too. Pittsburgh at Arizona. And a couple reasons here, most of which Robbie hit on. Robbie Ray, he's faced good lineups the last 11-plus innings against Tampa Bay and Colorado over the last two games. He's only let up one earned run. Pitt, it has hit under 600 team OPS versus lefties. That's 28th in all of Major League Baseball, so one of the worst lineups against lefties. They're going to be facing a lefty here tonight. I think all this kind of points towards Arizona. Plus, on the other side, Pittsburgh's pitcher Kingham, this is likely his last start before heading back to the bullpen. And lefties, OPS over 1,000 against him. He's had a lot of trouble against lefties this year. And the first three batters from Arizona's lineup, normal lineup, is all lefties. So I kind of like first inning if you can find it. I know Bovada has first inning. Bet365, GT Bets, some of these sports books have first inning. I like the over first inning. I also like Arizona if you can get them money line, even -1 line. Don't like the -1.5 line, the regular run line at home. But if you can find a -1 line out there, like Arizona as well, but normally don't like laying this big of a price. The market's moved on it up to -170 right now, so just kind of a normal play here on Arizona as the home team, back in Robbie Ray at the -170 price tag. I like it. Let's move down the card here. We got Houston at Detroit, Robbie. Peacock here for Houston, Matt Boyd for Detroit, 8.5 being the total. Seeing Houston getting bumped up here, man. Peacock, he's been good. He's been solid. Going against Boyd, who's been solid as well. It's just, he hasn't been lights out. And Houston rakes lefties, the number one team in terms of team OPS, weighted runs created number, against lefties. They're facing a lefty tonight here in Boyd. He's got a tough matchup here. -155. That's the Astros laying on the road, Robbie.
Yeah, I've backed Matthew Boyd, I think, 3 consecutive starts here, Drew, because he's been as good as it gets. I mean, if he had an offense behind him, chances are his record would be far better than what it is right now. Matthew Boyd, since his initial start of the season, has rattled off 7 consecutive quality starts. He's got 63 strikeouts and only 11 walks this season, almost a 6-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, and those 63 Ks are in 50 innings. So he's been dominant as far as swing and miss stuff goes, as far as strikeout stuff goes. He's only allowed 3 home runs in 50 and a third. That's 1 every 17 innings. That's also very, very good. In his starts, he's been out there, Drew, and hasn't allowed more than 3 runs, as I mentioned, in any game since his opener this year. So that's a tough pitcher for Houston to go up against. Now, with that out of the way, there's not many more positives for Detroit other than their starting pitcher, which happens to be the case most every time he throws. The bullpen, this is the one bullpen that could be a little bit fatigued here. It's not a great bullpen to begin with, but Shane Green has been good as their closer. And he worked back-to-back days over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, so you might not see him a third game in a row. That could be troublesome. A guy that they've relied on lately, Buck Farmer, has now thrown 3 consecutive days. Like I say, they don't have a ton of good arms to go to out there, and the ones that they've relied on could be in a little bit of a fatigue position tonight, and you don't want to be in that position against the Astros. Brad Peacock, be it what it may, as a starting pitcher, and last time it was really good, but there's some inconsistencies to the right-hander for sure. but there's no inconsistencies to the offense right now. If you've been playing Houston, run line, 1.5. In some cases, who cares if it's 2.5 or 3.5? I mean, they're just crushing the baseball right now. They're 8-1 against the run line in their last 9 games. They've outscored their opponents 74-33, plus 41 runs in just 9 games. So the Houston offense really rolling right now. Matthew Boyd, can he keep Detroit close enough? He's shown the ability to. He hasn't thrown against Houston this year. If you want to pick out a really hot offense that he has pitched against, that would be the Boston Red Sox, where he went 7 innings and allowed 3 runs. Other than that, he hasn't really faced any dynamic offenses. That could be one thing you could hold against him. I don't know how you bet against Houston right now, Drew. The freight train is rolling through. George Springer has 15 home runs I saw this morning. That 15 came out of nowhere. And I think 10 of them are against the Texas Rangers. So they certainly don't want to see Houston anymore. But I find it real difficult to play against the Astros. I understand the line move. Playing them on a run line, no matter where they are, hasn't been a deterrent the last 9 games. Don't know that it'll be tonight. As much as I like Boyd, I just can't get behind him here against this offense.
Yeah, and Robbie, I think 29 of his home runs are leadoff home runs as well. I thought that was impressive. But we got 2 games left here. We'll go through them real quick, guys. Angels at Minnesota Twins. Skaggs versus Berrios, minus 145. That's the Twins laying at home. Total at 9. Good pitching matchup here, Robbie.
And a monster move toward the LA Angels in this game. Drew opened $1.65, was as low as $1.30 earlier today. Now it's up to about, I'm looking right now, say anywhere between 45 and 49 cents. So it's about a 15, 16 cent move now. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Nelson Cruz won't be in the lineup tonight. He's got a bad wrist. They're not putting him on the injured list yet, but he did say that it's been more painful the last couple of days. And taking Nelly Cruz out of the lineup leaves a pretty big void in a lineup which has just been dynamite all season long, especially as far as extra base hits are concerned. Minnesota's been very, very good slugging the baseball this year. And they're going to go up against, you almost wish Cruz was in the lineup, because they're going to go up against Tyler Skaggs, who was reading an article on him this morning. His BABIP, for those who don't know, that's the batting average a pitcher allows on balls in play. Sometimes you can be really unlucky, and when a guy makes contact with you, balls just seem to find holes, and that tends to even itself out over time. Tyler Skaggs' BABIP on the road this season is 358, which is extremely high. And it's been that way, not necessarily 358, but it's been high throughout his career, so it could be a theme with Tyler Skaggs. Also, I think you can find a little bit of trouble for Skaggs on the road with his 6.38 ERA. As opposed to 2.19 at home. So there's over 4 runs difference in his earned run average between home and road. A lot of time we talk about offensive splits, and we've talked about them with the Angels as far as road offense and home offense are concerned. With Skaggs, it's home ERA and road ERA. Neither one of those categories plays to the Angels in this game. Everything kind of points to the Reds with Berrios on the hill. He's been outstanding his last 2 games. I mean, there's not enough good things you can say about the guy and the way he's performed this year. The only bad thing really for Minnesota is that they're going to have to find some hitting in place of Nelson Cruz here tonight. But they are 7-1 in starts by Berrios this season.
Robbie, we got 1 game left. Oakland at Seattle. Friars versus Kikuchi, the lefty from, I believe, Japan, maybe Korea. Minus 120 favorite at home. Total of 9. Last game up.
Yeah, I remember a few games ago they went to an opener with Kikuchi because in Japan they pitch on different rest. And so Seattle, to keep him fresh, used him as an opener, only threw him 1 inning. Since that time, he's made 2 starts, and they've both been great. 7 innings pitched against the Cleveland Indians, 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run. 7 2/3 innings pitched against the New York Yankees, 3 hits, 1 earned run. So that's 14 2/3, 2 runs, 13 strikeouts, 2 walks, no home runs allowed. Great stuff by Kikuchi his last 2. So he's in good form. He's got his normal rest here tonight against Oakland. However, Oakland, one of those offensive disparities for sure. Big differences, significant differences between the way they hit lefties and hit righties. Against lefties, they're number 4 In Major League Baseball, in OPS, 813. Against righties, they're only 675, so that's a huge difference. They do hit the lefties better, but it's been a cold lineup all season long, Drew, for the most part, and I don't know that they come through here. Seattle's, again, obviously cooled off since the start of the season when they opened up 13-2, and they were hitting the ball for extra bases like crazy. It's a battle between two offenses that are pretty cold. Mike Fiers got an extra day off yesterday. Yesterday should have been his turn in the rotation, but he threw 131 pitches in that no-hitter, so they gave him the extra day of rest. His pitching stats, his game logs are all over the place this year. You can almost tell what you're going to get out of this guy within the first 2 innings, either good or bad. So I don't really want to go ahead and back Fiers here. I'd rather take Kikuchi. I think he's found his stride here at this time, but more than anything, game played in Seattle, it looks like it should be an under to me, so maybe we'll take a look at the under in that game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking towards the under as well. Heard some other sharp guys on it as well. We got a $9 Monday today, guys. Check out sportsmemo.com. A lot of plays on the board. You can get one, you can get many, you can get as many as you want. Any handicapper, all the plays discounted to just $9. So great stuff there at the website. Robbie, thanks for the time. We breaking down all the MLB games. We'll be back tomorrow talking some NHL with Andrew McGinnis. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and best of luck with your bets.